Nigeria, good morning to everyone in Ekiti, and good morning to everyone in diaspora. It's 24 News Radio Television, and we are here this wonderful morning in the beautiful edition today in the dailies. And I am Ayomide Daramola. Of course, I'm not the only one here.
I am Oluwatofunmioni.
Good morning to us, everyone to Community. It's
Good
another
morning.
brand new Friday morning, and it's happening live in Ekiti State. And listen to the news in details. Here on my table, I have Nigerian Tribune. Tinubu seeks National Assembly's approval to consolidate 2024-2025 budgets.
Alright, with me here from the Lily Post, nationwide protest. Tinubu hold late night meeting with NLC.
And on my desk is the Sun newspaper. NMDPRA CEO Farouk Ahmed, NURPC boss, resign as Tinubu names replacement.
Coming from the Nation newspaper, Sanwo-Olu's wife seeks better care for elderly.
And from the Nigerian Tribune, down to accredit 1,039 CBT centers for 2026 UTME.
Still on the Nation newspaper, re-elect Tinubu to consolidate his reforms, says Faleke.
And on the point, Malami kicks after EFCC raid KB Abuja homes.
Still on the Vanguard newspaper, Nigerians 80% youth unemployment rate and indictment on leadership. Peter Obi.
All right, this and lots more we have for you on today in the days. Stay tuned while we give you the news in details. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has asked the National Assembly to consider and pass the Appropriation Repeal and Reenactment Bill 2 of 2024, involving a total proposed expenditure of 43.56 trillion for the 2025 fiscal year. The separate letters to the Senate and the House of Representatives on Wednesday. In the Senate, the letter was read to plenary by the Senate President Goswell Akpabio. The Nigerian Tribune.
Alright, moving on to the Daily Post. Nationwide hold late night meeting with NLC. President Bola Tinubu on Wednesday night engaged in discussion with the leaders of the Nigerian Labour Congress. The meeting was held at the presidential villa in Abuja in an apparent effort to address concern ahead of the union's proposed nationwide protest over rising insecurity. The meeting included key government figures like the chairman of the Progressive Governor Forum, Governor Hope Uzodinma of Imo State, Governor Monde Okpebholo of Edo State, Governor Nazar Idris of Kebbi State. Leading the Labour delegation was NLC President Comrade Joe Ajaero. The closure session comes just a day before the NLC mass action scheduled for December 17. Alright, this is coming from Daily Post, and for clarification of the news, you can grab a copy on nationwide protest. Tinubu hold late night meeting with NLC.
And on my desk is the Sun newspaper. NMDPRA CEO Farouk Ahmed, NUPRC boss, resigned as Tinubu names replacement. The chief executive of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, Farouk Ahmed, has resigned. Similarly, his counterpart at the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, Benga Kamalafe, has stepped down. Based on the development, President Bola Tinubu has asked the Senate to confirm new chief executives for the two agencies. The president's request was contained in separate letters to the Senate on Wednesday. This was announced in a statement issued by the president's special advisor on information and strategy, Bayo Ononuga. NNDPRA CEO Farouk Ahmed, NURPC boss, resigned as Tinubu names replacement. For full details, you can grab the Sun newspaper.
Moving on to the Nation newspaper, Sanwo-Olu's wife seeks better care for elderly. The Lagos State government, through the Office of the First Lady, in collaboration with the Orusi Welfare Foundation, has hosted about 200 senior citizens to the second edition of A Day Out with the Elderly, and a reaffirmed commitment to the welfare, dignity, and inclusion of older persons in the state. The event held at the Lagos State House Marina brought together elderly persons drawn from care homes and communities across the state, including Hepe, Badagry, and Ikorodu. It featured a guided sightseeing tour of major landmarks in Lagos, health education, gift presentation, and goodwill message from stakeholders. The governor's wife, Dr. Ibijoke Sanwo-Olu, described the initiative as a personal passion, noting that the joy and fulfillment derived from seeing elderly citizens happy and engaged was immeasurable. This is the second edition of A Day Out with Elderly, and it is an initiative that remained very close to my heart. Seeing the smiles on the face of our senior citizen is deeply fulfilling. It is a blessing on its own, she said. Alright, this is coming from the Nation newspaper. Sanwo-Olu's wife seeks better care for elderly. And for full details, you can grab a copy of the Nation newspaper.
All right, moving on to the Nigerian Tribune. JAMB to accredit 1,039 CBT centers for 2026 UTME. The Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board has announced plans to accredit a total of 1,039 computer-based test centers nationwide for the 2026 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination. The JAB registrar, Professor Ishak Oloyede, disclosed this to journalists on Wednesday in Ilorin during an accreditation tour of CBT centers. Oloyede said 52 examination teams have been deployed across the country to reaccredit centers or disqualify those that fail to meet the board's standards. He explained that the annual accreditation exercise was necessary to ensure compliance and laid down requirements, stressing that past approval did not guarantee continued eligibility. JAM to accredit 1,039 CBT centers for 2026 UTME. For full details, you can get the Nigerian Tribune.
Re-elect Tinubu to consolidate his reform, says Falike, coming from the Nation newspaper. The Director General of Tinubu Campaign Council in 2023 presidential election, James Abiodun Falike, has urged Nigeria to prepare to re-elect President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in 2027. Faleke, National Coordinator of Presidential Coalition Council, said Nigeria should vote for President Tinubu again so that he could consolidate on the commendable far-reaching reforms his administration has embarked on. Speaking in Ibadan at the launching of PCC and solicitation of the policies of the President Tinubu administration to the people of Oyo State, Faleke, represented by Abiodun Mafe, urged all progressive Congress members to continue to win to the party and spread the gospel of good governance. The launch of the Council and Sensitization Initiative was organized and sponsored by Mr. Ayotunde Bakare. A member of the PCC team of Abuja, Abdullahi Enilubo, said the launch of PCC beginning from Ibadan was strategic and Ibadan controlled half of Oyo State's total vote. He lauded Bakare for using his personal resources to organize the launch of PCC and sensation of the policies of the Tinubu's administration. Thanking the PCC team from Abuja, he expressed delight about their new support, saying Faleke was not new to presidential victory as he was the DG of Tinubu campaign council in 2023. Alright, this is coming from the Nation newspaper, and for clarification of the news, you can grab a copy on Real X Tinubu to consolidate his reforms, says Faleke.
All right, we'll be going on a short break. While we're back from the short break, we'll give you the news in details. Stay tuned and touch the dial.
Welcome to 24 News Radio and Television, your trusted companion for real-time updates, expert analysis, and compelling conversations. We bring the world closer to you with clear, credible, and concise information at every moment. With our seasoned reporters and sharp broadcasters, we dig deep to uncover the facts behind the headlines from your neighborhood to the global stage. Stay connected with 24 News Radio and Television for breaking news and current happenings across the globe. 24 News Radio and Television. The world is closer than you think.
All right, you all, welcome back from the short break. Listen to the news in details. Malami kicks after EFCC made KB Abuja homes. Operatives of Economic and Financial Crimes Commission have raided the offices and private residences of a former Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami's son, in Abuja and Kebbi State. The raids were confirmed in a statement issued on Wednesday by Malami's media head, Mohammed Doka. According to Doka, the raid came shortly after Malami's office publicly referenced Chapter 9 of the Justice Ayosalami Judicial Commission in inquiry report. Doka claimed that the raid was for purpose of seizing Chapter 9 of the report. He accused the EFCC chairman, Ola Olukayode of bias and demanded his refusal, his recusal from matters relating to him. Malami kicks after EFCC raid KB Abuja homes. For full details, you can grab the Punch newspaper.
Alright, moving on to the Vanguard newspaper. Nigeria's 80% youth unemployment rate and commitment on leadership. Peter Obi. The 2023 presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi, has described the recent Action Aid Plan international report, which puts Nigeria's youth unemployment rate at 80%, as an indictment on Nigeria's leadership and its economic direction. Obi noted that this figure represents over 80 million unemployed youths. This, he said, was a staggering reality given the country's undeniable large population. The former Anambra State governor said this on a post on his verified X handle. He accused the President Bola Tinubu-led All Progressive Congress administration of failing in its responsibility of investing in our youth. Obi said the recent Action Aid Plan International report, which highlights the devastating fact that over 80 million young Nigerians are unemployed, is an indictment on our leadership and economic direction. Nigeria top of the world in the absolute number of unemployed youths due to large population with over 80 million youths without job. Alright, this is coming from the Vanguard newspaper. Nigeria's 80% youth unemployment rate indictment on leadership. Peter Obi. For clarification of the news, you can grab a copy of the Vanguard newspaper.
With me here is the Daily Independent. 3 suspected armed bandits arrested in Kwara. 3 suspected armed bandits have been arrested by the Kwara State Police Command. State Police Commissioner Adekimi Ojo disclosed this to journalists on the sideline of Police Security Summit organized by the command in Ilorin on Wednesday. He revealed that police operative also recovered 54 AK-47 rifle ammunition from the suspect. The suspects were arrested at Bani Axis in Barrington, local government area of the state. Adekimi assured residents of the state that many suspects have also been arrested and been profiled presently. 3 suspected armed bandits arrested in Kwara. For full details, you can grab the Daily Independence.
Still on the Vanguard newspaper, workers facing war survival crisis in Nigerian history, NLC. The Nigerian Labour Congress has warned that workers and Nigerians were facing the war survival crisis in the nation's history, driven by the rising inflation, deepening insecurity, poor wages, and the collapse of social protection system. It's contended that they are worse off when compared to the African workers, including war-ravaged nations such as Somalia and Sudan. NLC yesterday said the current hardship is more severe than some Nigerians experienced during the Civil War or the era of austerity measures, stressing that financial insecurity has become the defining reality of working masses across the country. NLC President Mr. Joe Ajaero, who reviewed the current state of the affairs, said Nigerians, especially Nigerian workers, are currently confronted with the worst survival crisis in the history of our nation, worse than the Civil War years and even the era of austerity measures. At the heart of this crisis lies a growing surge of financial insecurity. Today, the Nigerian workers sit at the bottom of the ladder when compared with workers in many African countries, including war-ravaged nations such as Somalia and Sudan. Alright, this is coming from the Vanguard newspaper. Workers facing worst survival crisis in Nigerian history, NLC. For full details of the news, you can grab a copy of the Nigerian newspaper.
All right, as we draw the curtain on today in the dailies, we take the leadership newspaper. 300 suspected kidnappers nabbed, 30 rescued in Anambra Police. The Anambra State Commissioner of Police, Ikoyi Orutogo, on Wednesday revealed that joint security forces across the state have rescued approximately 35 kidnapped victims and arrested around 300 suspected criminals since the start of 2025. Orutogo would disclose this during a press briefing at the command's headquarters in Ikwa on Wednesday. Said the joint security operations also led to the recovery of over 2,000 arms and ammunition, including explosive and other dangerous items. He disclosed that about 60 stolen vehicles, including motorcycles, were recovered, and several criminal cases were successfully prosecuted, resulting in convictions. 300 suspected kidnappers nabbed, 30 rescued in Anambra. All right, this is all we have for you on today in the dailies on 24 News Radio Television. Stay tuned, don't touch the dial. We'll see you next time, same station. I still remain Ayomide Daramola.
And I still remain Oluwa Tofumioni.
I want to tell you to enjoy your weekend and stay blessed. Bye-bye.
Welcome to 24 News Radio and Television, your trusted companion for real-time updates, expert analysis, and compelling conversations. We bring the world closer to you with clear, credible, and concise information at every moment. With our seasoned reporters and sharp broadcasters, we dig deep to uncover the facts behind the headlines from your neighborhood to the global stage.